I would like to welcome everyone to another WU Online exclusive. I am Michael Reaver Jr., and joining me right now is a fifth generation McMahon family member and a current member of the IU Hoosiers football team. Please welcome number 37, Declan McMahon. Welcome, Declan.
Thank you very much for having me on.
I understand you just finished practice. How was it?
It was good, getting ready for Rutgers. We've got a good game plan going in, and a bunch of the guys are fired up, and I think we're ready to win. So just got to execute and do the little things right, and should have the outcome that we want on game day.
Is it going to be odd with them being one of the schools that gave you an offer and now you'll be playing them?
No, I mean, I have a lot of guys on the team that I know, and just being from the East Coast, the New York, New Jersey area, so I'm very familiar with the team. Coach Shiano does a really, really good job over there, and have nothing negative to say. But obviously, when coming here, you come here with a purpose. So obviously, you want to win, and you got to cut that chip on your shoulder, just in terms of, obviously, I probably won't be playing out there, but just in rooting for the guys and doing everything I can on the sideline, and just definitely want to get a win here this week.
You played football in high school, and now you are playing for the IU Hoosiers. Do you have any aspirations for the NFL or even the XFL?
You never know. Obviously, when my grandfather owned the XFL before he sold it. Obviously, there's options, and I think it's one of those things where and not playing yet at the collegiate level, and just being here, it's one of those things where if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to obviously play in the NFL, but if that opportunity doesn't come, there's obviously so many options, family business, things like that. So you never know. But in terms of aspirations, whenever duty calls or whatever really opportunity presents itself, I'd be more than willing to jump on
it. Speaking of IU, what made you decide to take IU's offer?
What really made me decide to take IU's offer was just one, it's just an amazing school, and working to be in the Kelley School of Business, and trying to get a degree from there. That was obviously a big thing, because my mom would always preach growing up, education, and wanting to get a good degree, in whatever you do, whether it's make the NFL or join the WWE, who knows? You want to make sure you get a good degree to set yourself up in the future. But in terms of the football side of it, I really chose Indiana because, we love Coach Allen. He preaches something called LEO, which is love each other. And in just being here, and being on my visits, everybody just treated me with such kindness, and just brought me in with such open arms. And it was such an easy process, from Coach Hanson recruiting me to Coach Johnson, the running backs coach, and obviously the head man, Coach Allen, and just in being on the scout team as well after committing, with Coach Thomas Allen, Coach Allen's son, and a bunch of those guys. It's just been a really, really awesome experience, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world.
You mentioned you're at the Kelley School of Business. Is that your major business?
Yeah. So I was in sports media for a while, and working on broadcasting, things like that, because obviously, my grandfather before everything, he obviously used to sit behind the announcer's booth, right? He was such a phenomenal announcer. So I always thought, what's a great way to just be in front of a camera, be in front of a screen, practice that. And obviously broadcasting through sports media was, I thought, such a solid option. But, when talking with my advisor and talking with my parents, we thought, and I thought that it would be much better suited to go into business management specifically. So just recently, I'm working to switching into the Kelley School of Business. So.
Okay. When you made your announcement to commit to IU, we saw the congratulation from your dad. He was a proud papa. But we also saw where WWE legend John Cena congratulated you as well. What is it like to wake up and see not only your friends congratulating you, fans of IU football, but fans from the WWE universe and John Cena congratulating you?
Yeah, so I think the really cool thing about Mr. Cena is that he has had such a phenomenal career, and through that he's met so many phenomenal people. And I think one thing that I'm obviously not want to speak for him, but in seeing something is seeing me grow up, right? Just through the business and being around the business for so long. I posted on my Twitter, obviously, my first appearance was at WrestleMania 20 when my grandpa, my dad were shown on the big screen to open the show. And I think in me being at the shows, just from me being a kid to where I was now, we were recently at WWE Fastlane, and he came back into our little room and, said hello to a bunch of my teammates and me. And obviously we had a nice little embrace and a nice little talk about that, but it was really, really cool. And obviously seeing fans from the WWE universe, it's one of the best fan bases in the world. It really doesn't get much better than that. Just such loyal fans that really buy into what, my family has created, and seeing just the passion behind everybody. And for somebody who has never had a match or for anything, but to see the love that they show just through my dad, through my grandfather, and through all these other superstars, it's really, really, it was really incredible.
Yes, I don't know if you can tell, but I am a WWE Universe member since
Yeah, I
19.
love the Macho Man poster. That was the first thing I noticed when I hopped on here.
Thank you. And I was also at Fastlane.
Oh, okay.
I saw your IU takeaway belt, and I was wondering if you could explain to the viewers the history about the championship and why you wanted to create it.
Sure. Well, first, obviously, and speaking about John Cena, so our first rendering was just the Universal Championship belt, right? The one that Roman Reigns has that you see on Fridays on SmackDown. But then we were thinking, what's a really cool design that we could come up with? And instantly, when talking with a bunch of the captains on the team, like Mike Kadick, Noah Pierre, Aaron Casey, we all were like, the spinner belt that originally John Cena first created would be such a cool idea. So in talking with my grandpa, who helped me get through just in terms of creating the belt, we came up with a rendering for the spinner belt, where the red belt, which you guys will see this Saturday when we get a takeover versus Rutgers. And just really the thought process was, what's something that we can really give these guys, some swagger about playing defense. And, there's nothing better, in growing up around this business, there's nothing better than being the champion, right?
Right.
And, when you're the champion and when you hold that championship belt over your shoulder or above your head, it really means something, right? And we figured, what's a really good way to not only incorporate that aspect of my life for the business, but in that aspect of life for football. And, when having the connections that we do through the WWE, we figured, why don't we get an official takeaway belt? And Coach Allen was instantly on board when the captains brought it to him. And once we got that rendering in, it took about a couple of weeks, but it's finally ready, and we're finally ready to bring out the real one. So we're all really excited. A bunch of the guys are juiced up about that. So
I don't know a lot about football, but I know there's usually a game ball.
yeah.
Is the takeaway belt like the game ball? Does one person get to keep the belt till the next game?
We don't exactly know. So obviously, we have the takeaway belt, and so the old one, I guess we're thinking about putting in storage, but that could be an option just in terms of, after the game, if you want to bring it back, maybe like give it to, like, if a lot of the guys on the team have siblings, or some of them even have kids from themselves. So maybe if they get a takeaway, they could bring one of the belts back and just maybe hold that for the week and things like. But we haven't really talked about that. It's more or less just, get yourself on camera, hold yourself with the belt. You're the champ. You just got to take away for us. Now offense got to go down and score some points. So that's really the whole thought process behind it. Just play with some energy and some swagger.
Okay. You recently sparked some speculation on the internet. You posted your pictures, the WWE Championship, the takeaway belt, and you said, "Born for this." Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people said, "Oh, he's gonna join WWE." Other people said he just means he was born to be a champion no matter what he does. Can you explain what your true meaning was?
Yeah, so I guess my true meaning behind it was that, I was born into this business, right? And in being a champion, right? Being a champion isn't something that's just displayed by having a belt. Being a champion is something that you have to live every day of your life, right? Whether that's with your schoolwork, whether that's with, I'm an older brother, to two younger brothers, Kenyon McMahon and Rogan McMahon. And in just being an older brother for them and a great role model, you have to be a champion for them as well, right? So it's being a champion for yourself every day and showing up every day with just being consistent with that. But the other meaning behind it is, when you've come up in this family business and you've seen it, and I mean, when WrestleMania 32 came to AT&T Stadium and running out there with my dad, that was just the coolest experience of my life, just to see 100,000 in a sold out crowd, just cheering for something that's just bigger, way, way bigger than yourself, right? And it really gets to put it in perspective of just what it means to not only be a champion, but to be a superstar. So I'm never ruling it out. I would love to get in the ring maybe a couple times, but obviously, you have to see if the opportunity presents itself. It's all about the story, but we'll see. I think a lot of fans would get behind it if we ended up doing it. And I think I'd be pretty good at it. But you never know. Never ruling that option out. But as for now, focusing on football and school, and we'll play that by ear.
Yeah, I remember watching your dad the first time he wrestled, and I thought he looks like he has been doing this for years, and he scares me every time he jumps off a cage. I can only imagine what it's like for you and your brothers and your mom. And
yeah, I mean, he one thing that's always great is that he never lets us know what he's going to do, and when just going into his mind and picking his brain and things like that. He is crazy. He does it not only because he just does it for the love of the sport. And in talking to him, you really see how much he cares for the business and how he's willing to do everything, not just for himself, but he's willing to just do it for the fans, and like that roar of the crowd that he gets and the respect that he gets from his fans it's really something incredible to see. And to see that respect, when you're at the shows, and to see even how some of the fans treat me and just in the way that my dad is so well respected is really, really awesome, especially, when being a 19-year-old growing up in this society, having such a role model as my dad, and just in the way that he treats life, in the way that he attacks life. Like he doesn't just take those risks. He doesn't just take those risks on TV, right? He takes them every day through various other businesses, and he takes those risks by flying every day to the shows just so he can come back and watch my youngest brother's football games. It's really, really amazing the risks that he's willing to take just to help out his family, and to put on an amazing show as well for the fans that they don't always see behind the scenes.
you've now been a resident of Indiana for about a year. What do you like most and least about this state?
What I like least about it is that, well, and being from New York, I'm used to the cold, but it does get pretty cold quickly here. The weather is, I would not say the weather is great. And being in Bloomington, you do feel a little isolated, and you're an hour away from Indianapolis. So you kind of really have to fall in love with the campus, which I have. But I would say just in being kind of enclosed, like sometimes occasionally you'll feel a little trapped. But in what I love about it is obviously, the people I've met here are second to none. I have such a good friend group, and, we're so supportive of each other. We'll sit at the house. Sometimes we'll play poker games, we'll just talk, shoot the shit just like college kids would. But then, I also joined a fraternity here. Just really just enjoying college to the fullest, because in playing football, your schedule is so slammed. So you really just want to take the time to like sit back, talk with your buddies, and just really enjoy the whole process.
Have you found being a McMahon? I mean, I'm sure it has its positives, but have you found where it might have negatives to it?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to be careful, and holding a last name, right? And holding a last name with the weight such as McMahon, you have to always, watch your back, in the sense that people aren't always literally going to attack you, but you have to watch your back, because we live in such an age of social media where everything you write, everything you post, every meme you send can be traced back to you, and there's a lot of pressure in doing that, right? And like I said, in being a college student and in being a guy who just loves to shoot the shit with the guys, you always have to be careful of what you're saying, right? Because all it takes is one guy to interpret it wrong, or one girl to interpret it wrong, and everything can go to shit. So and that's not only just for having the last name, right? That's just the world we live in. We see NFL guys, NBA guys that have things that come up from 10, 15 years ago that come back to bite them. So you have to really, really be careful. And, my dad, my grandpa, and like my mom have just done a really good job in teaching me that you just have to be careful, especially on social media, because all it takes is one screenshot, and in the day we live in today, it'll live forever. So that's really where you have to be the most careful.
Yeah, I think sometimes the society goes a little too far. Like you said,
Yeah.
it'll be like 20 years ago, you didn't stop at the crosswalk.
Exactly. Things like that. So yeah, you can never be too careful, which is obviously a burden. And my grandpa and my dad would always say, when having the last name, with great power comes great responsibility. So you just have to be responsible with what you have, and you just have to know that there's a place and a time for everything.
I know of another family that used to say that.
Which one?
With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh yeah. So
Spider-Man.
yeah. So, obviously, we're not being a superhero, but, when you watch those superstars right in the ring, and then you see them come home, such as my dad, it's like you see them be superheroes for so many people, right? You see them just jumping off these cages, and you see the bumps that they take and the physical aspect of it, and then they come home to us, and like my dad will come home to his kids and just be a dad, right? Just throw the football with us, help us with homework, watch comedy specials of Netflix, right? And just that's, I think, the really the coolest part of just seeing like the duality of when it's time to be a superstar, it's time to be a superstar, but when it's time to go home and be a father, he can do that as well.
Beginning with your interview, I'm starting a series of quick answer questions called 10 questions in the fast lane.
Like that.
Thank you. So let's begin. Red meat or seafood?
Red meat.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Coke or Pepsi?
Neither. I don't drink soda.
Watching a movie in the theater or waiting until it's released digitally?
Probably watching it in the theater.
Boxers or briefs?
Oh, boxers.
Mustache fence or non-mustache fence?
Non-mustache fence, 100%. 100% non-mustache fence.
What would your perfect date be?
Perfect date?
Yes.
Ooh, that's tough. Probably just going to a nice restaurant, like a really nice steakhouse, something like that. Something where, I can really have a nice conversation with somebody. And then, I'm being from New York, just seeing the city and seeing the skyline, things like that. I think that would be really nice.
What's the last song you listened to?
Can I look at my phone?
Yeah.
Let me see. Last song that I listened to. Let's see. No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay. What is your secret talent?
My secret talent. I'm a really good poker player.
Okay. And what's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Guilty. I have a couple. I just finished Yellowstone, which I've watched with my family, so that was really nice. But right now, I'm about to finish Breaking Bad, so that's my current guilty pleasure TV show. It's really good.
Okay. I was wondering if you were gonna say AEW or Impact Wrestling.
No, I don't watch that crap.
And thank you for the 10 questions in Fastlane. So you're the first one for that.
Here we go.
When you're not in class and you're not on the field, what do you do for fun?
Like I said, just hang out with the guys. Like we have just like a little poker table in our house, and we'll play for like $5, right? Or sometimes even $1, right? And we'll just use like a little bit of chips, and that way, we could be actively doing something, and we could just have a really good conversation. So I love to do that for fun. I like anime. I've watched Naruto. I'm currently watching One Piece a little bit, so I like to watch that. And I love playing video games with some of my guys that I knew back in New York. We're playing GTA a little bit. We play golf with friends. We're waiting for that new UFC game to come out, so we're pretty excited for that. So that's what I kind of like to do for fun.
Hey, Mike, I think we got time for like 2 more questions. Is that okay?
That's fine. I actually have one more.
Perfect.
I'm assuming there'll be Halloween parties coming up. What will you be going as?
I will be going as Ricky Vaughn. So if you've ever seen the movie Major League, when he came out as the Wild Thing with the skull glasses, and I'm getting the haircut for it. But so that'll be on my Instagram when I get the whole costume right. But I'll be excited for that.
I can't wait to see that. Do you have any official links you want to pass along?
No official links. Obviously, if you want to follow me on social media, my Instagram is @DMcMahon _. Twitter is ODMcMahon. I'm not on TikTok. But yeah, just thank you very, very much for having me on. And it was a real privilege talking to you, and hope to continue this connection in the future.
Thank you. Don't forget, the IU Hoosiers will play their homecoming game against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights this Saturday at Memorial Stadium. Tickets are still available. You can catch the game on the Big Ten Network if you're unable to attend. Kickoff is at noon. I'd like to thank Declan McMahon, Greg Gamble, and the IU Hoosiers for making this possible. Thank you, Declan.
Beat Rutgers. Thank you very, very much.
Bye-bye.